So, if you've watched or listened to the Ministry of Horror, the most recent show, you'll have heard
Great show, Tez.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. You'll have heard I had Lawrence on the show to do a review with me of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, that show is our main show. We try to avoid spoilers, just talk about the things that are advertised or the first sort of half of the film. But we're doing an extra special show where we can go full spoilers.
My soundboard doesn't work.
Oh.
Dun dun. I've got Ghostbusters sounds on there. I haven't booted up. Damn it, I forgot. Spoiler warning. Engage.
Spoiler warning, engage. So we've talked initially kind of about the film, our thoughts, what we liked, what we disliked, but without spoilers. You can check that out on the main show. But we can now really sort of dive into some things that maybe didn't float our boat as much as others. So, Lawrence, the floor is yours, man.
Well, generally, the film was very bloated, full of characters, too many characters, I think. And again, like we said in the main MOH show, I think the whole flashback thing I would have loved it if it was a flashback to the Ghostbusters in the 90s. I think it would have been awesome. I think it would have been such a good moment for us to see, a bit like Afterlife opened up, and then it opened Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and it goes to modern day. It would have been so good. But I just thought that the film was bloated. I think the interactions between the original Ghostbusters, there was only a few that I liked when Ray and Peter are there right at the end talking about how there was a line that was just like the original Ghostbusters where Ray said, "Oh no, remember that?" It was a tech babble about the trap.
Yeah.
Can you remember, Pete? And Pete's like, "But pretend I don't know, Ray." But obviously, Venkman doesn't know. That's a proper Venkman line. That was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was really good. That was a good line. But generally, there was like lines in the film with the original Ghostbusters, like how like Winston didn't want Ray to do any of this stuff. It's your golden years, Ray. It's golden years. Like, wouldn't it have been better if Winston said, "It's your golden years, Ray. We've already lost Egon because of an obsession." Because in theory, Egon died from Gozer in Afterlife. In theory, his obsession killed him and took him away from his family. You're pushing us away, Ray, and with all this obsession, and we've already lost Egon. And imagine like that emotional thing. I don't want to lose another brother. I don't want to lose you, Ray. Something like that. When because they're arguing, so Ray basically messes up in the fight in the library, doesn't it? And they destroy one of the lions, gets possessed by a possession ghost.
Yeah.
And one of the lions outside the public library gets destroyed by Phoebe, and Winston is having a go at Ray about it, saying, "You can't be doing this. You're old. We know we need to pass it on." But like, imagine the anchor and the heart of like Afterlife would have been. You would have been pulled back to that because you'd remember that Egon was killed or died. Wasn't it? His obsession killed him. And again, that would have maybe played well to. Maybe Ray, if it did flash back to like an early 90s or the ghost had never caught, and it was Ray's fault. And it's Ray's obsession with this mess up and he's telling everyone, Garaka's coming. Or, remember that ghost we never caught? Or they're like, we've caught loads of ghosts, Ray. We can't remember. It's a new team now, something like that. But remember this one we missed. And his obsession is obsession. And he pulls in Phoebe and podcast into this obsession, maybe something like that. And then it anchors it all to a proper Ghostbuster story rather than all this mumbo jumbo about, because you can't tell me that Ray, with all his knowledge of the Ghostbusters, all his, he knows all the theories about paranormal episodes through the history of time. He didn't know about this 1904 some sort of Ghostbusters group.
Yeah,
that stopped. He would have known about it.
You'd think, an incident where an entire room of people froze to death in summer, in July.
Yeah.
You would think, and that was just over 100 years ago, and he knows things from like 3000 BC.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd know that, which is, a little bit odd.
I just thought that would have been a great interaction between the two. I think, and that's a real shame for me. And the interaction they had was quite good, but I felt like there was definitely something cut out. There's a lot of stuff cut out of the film, wasn't there? Did you like the bit where Ray's looking at the new proton packs or the new ones in the firehouse just before Garaka turns up? And it looks like there was a scene where Winston maybe said don't use it, was going to say don't use it or have a go at him about it again. But then it just cut to Winston sort of nodding to him and going, let's go. Like they cut it out.
There's a weird
I don't
cut
know.
there.
What do you think? I mean, about a lot of it, spoilery.
Spoilery, yeah. I mean, I guess the main kind of storyline that stuck out to me was Phoebe and Melody's storyline. Now,
Oh,
I didn't necessarily mind initially the whole aspect of Phoebe is feeling out of place, as she basically has her whole life until she'd found her calling in the Ghostbusters. Obviously,
yeah.
finding out about her grandfather, and really finds herself in Afterlife, and difficulty of being in that sort of transitional phase of life when you're growing up. I get all that. And then having a human spirit ghost that she kind of connects with, didn't necessarily mind that so much.
No.
But the bit where I kind of had to go, okay, this is taking me out of the film a little bit, was that she is that willing to essentially, I don't know what terms you can use these days, but unalive herself, kill herself for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Just so she can physically touch or interact with Melody.
Because she's really intelligent, and then all of a sudden she's going to kill herself for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the trope as well. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the trope of this Melody character gets her to do this. It does a heel turn.
Heel turn, yeah.
Basically does a heel turn on her. Just like Hulk Hogan. Essentially. So she heel turns on Phoebe, doesn't she? And then it's a trope at the end where she's like, shouldn't have done that heel turn. I'm going to help you now defeat the baddie. It was like, oh no, what are you doing, film? This is the obvious this was going to happen.
Oh God, yeah, it was just that was a moment where I kind of thought, okay, so this isn't an Afterlife. This isn't Afterlife Part 2. This is very much a level below it. That stuck out to me. And I guess something we talked about briefly, but we're now in the spoiler section. So Kumail Nanjiani's character arc was something that let's talk about that. The fire warden, fire watcher, fire keeper.
Thing for me with Ghostbusters,
Firemaster,
it's about 4 guys who are plumbers, just normal guys, just guys. They're intelligent guys. Egon's intelligent, Ray's intelligent. Like they're guys against this crazy world of ghosts and rivers of slime and slimers and gozers and massive marshmallow men. All this, they're just normal guys though, and they work out ways to stop this paranormal thing happening. But now you've got this guy who turns up and can somehow control fire, and he catches the proton stream in one scene to stop. There's a possession ghost, which is like this red dot that gets into machines and gets into things, and he gets this red ghost gets into a proton pack and is about to shoot Trevor, and Nadeem catches when he shoots Trevor, catches the proton stream with basically Marvel. It's like a Marvel movie, doesn't he? Stops it with telekinesis of some description. And I just didn't like that, dude. That's not Ghostbusters for me. I know I sound like a rotten fanboy, but it's not my Ghostbusters, Tez.
Not my Ghostbusters. That was a moment that I think by that point in the film I was kind of just like, yeah, is what it is. Let's just see how it ends. But it definitely wasn't going to be the Gozer fight in the farmyard from Afterlife. I kind of accepted that. I did think, I did think that the moment when Phoebe had recalibrated one of the proton packs with brass, that was quite a good moment, because we'd had it where you got this villain, it seems to be fairly unstoppable, it looks like they're all dead, although it's frozen them because it's got this like death breath, but they're not all dead yet. It's like, well, if it's going to kill them, why wouldn't it just kill them?
Yeah, just kill them like the other film, like the other 1904 guys. Yeah, they weren't there in those red jackets, Tez, as well.
That's what it was.
Ghostbusters fans were annoyed about.
They didn't have the red jackets. But yeah, when she was able to harm it, I was like, okay, that's one of those cool moments. I mean, memorable, probably not, but it was still like, okay, yeah, now here's the moment when they can fight back, and let's see where it goes from there.
She says she's harming it, but she can't win it over, and then Nadeem from one of Melody's anchors to staying in planet Earth, and why she won't pass over into heaven, or like they talk about when Egon vaporized and it's very peaceful, and you become part of the universe. Don't you? That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
Your spirit evaporates and you become part of the universe. So they said, and Phoebe's telling Melody the whole time is really beautiful, and you've got an anchor here, and for the whole movie, Melody's got a match book with her, and yeah, right at the end, so Phoebe's beating Garaka with this green proton stream from the brass proton pack, but she can't quite win it over.
Yeah.
And then they realize that this match that Melody's been holding, they can give it to Nadim because his lighters ran out, and then he can light some fire, and then he can also shoot Garaka.
Yeah.
While the original Ghostbusters run down to the proton, to the containment unit, and flip and just pull a switch down and say "Golden Years," and suck him into the original containment unit.
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment where it felt like they were trying to replicate the real heartstring pulling moment of Afterlife, when Phoebe's struggling with the proton pack, and then her mum comes along on one side and Gary comes along on the other side, and it's like, okay, I get that this is showing they are, after everything, after all the fallouts, they are a family unit. But it was like, okay, that's just not going to replicate the moment of the ghost hand of Harold, of Egon, steadying the stream. Like nothing is going to have that moment of, oh god, now I'm suddenly upset.
Yeah, man, not at all.
It wasn't quite the same.
Car looked cool. Ecto 1 looked cool.
Ecto 1 looked cool. I quite like the motorbike.
I might get a Grotbags cameo here, Tez.
Oh, so Grotbags cameo.
Here he is. Come on. It's quick. There. No. He can't see me. He's blind. He's still got him though, Tez.
He's still going.
Come on, mate. Quick. Come see Tez. We're back on the podcast. Here he is.
Grotbags.
He's here.
Live. Grotbags is on the show.
There we go,
the spoiler cast.
The spoiler cast. It's a podcast, though, isn't it? Are we videoing this? Are we?
Oh well, I mean, now that we've got Grotbags, then we might have to put this on the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, man. Sorry to interrupt you.
Get those Grotbags views.
Stinky views.
The stinky views. Yeah, it's I just felt with this one that they really just need to kind of scale it back. I don't know if there's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be successful enough for there to be a director's cut. We haven't really had director's cuts of Ghostbusters.
Not of Ghostbusters. There's just deleted scenes coming out in. There's the 40th anniversary of more deleted scenes, and there might be a director's cut. Again, that would be cool to see, but it's not. Unless it's like a Snyder cut, it's not proper canon, is it? I guess.
No, exactly.
Supposedly there was another scene with Bill Murray, wasn't there? Because in the trailers there was a scene with Paul Rudd saying to Bill Murray, "What would you do?" And he goes, "I'd shower, shave, and hit the clubs."
Yeah,
and that wasn't even in the movie.
No,
at all.
That ended up just being in the trailer.
Yeah.
I guess what's going to be interesting is seeing how well this does, and if we'll get another sequel. Because
it made more than the original, than Afterlife in the first weekend, but that was open sort of during COVID times.
Yeah, Afterlife was released at kind of a difficult time for films. During like the COVID lockdown sort of period.
How busy was your cinema, and what time of day did you see it, and what day?
So we went on a Saturday at about 9:30. So it was a later screening. Yeah, it was a later screening. Probably, and there was three of us, and there was probably at most 15, 20 other people tops. It wasn't a packed screening.
Not bad though, mate. Because I've been going to films late at night for years, even before COVID, and none of them are mega busy at that time of night. But Meryl and me went into the Pool Cinema to see it at 9:30 on Friday, and it wasn't mega busy. But I think we were the bleed over because I messed up and booked my tickets for Saturday, and I realized, oh no! So we were the bleed over into another cinema, I think, because I went to the Pool Cinema on Friday night. And I've never seen that cinema that busy that late, including watching Endgame and Avengers. Now, I'm not saying this is going to get anywhere near Avengers, and it might have been a special Ghostbusters because they had like blokes dressed as Ghostbusters there, and an XO1 outside, so it might have been to do with that. But it was really busy for a 9:30 showing, like quite unbelievable busy actually. I thought I couldn't believe it actually how busy it was. Loads of people dressed as Ghostbusters. Was anyone dressed as Ghostbusters as your one?
No, we didn't get any Ghostbusters at ours. It's a
Oh,
bit of a
really?
shame. Yeah. Too
It's
cool
quite an
for
easy
school.
cosplay, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's
Just
just overalls, isn't it? Overalls
yeah,
with the name badge.
it is.
Yeah, it was something. I mean, what did you think? What did you think of the post-credit scene with the mini Stay Puffs, the mini
Maybe it's
puffs?
then if there's another film that's going to come out of New York. They've gone off
Yeah.
somewhere else in a truck. Basically, the end credit scene is there's a guy who's in a truck. And he gets out of the truck to go on a phone, isn't it? He's on a phone
Yeah.
rather than a mobile phone. He does something outside in a petrol station or a gas station, as you call it.
Mm.
And yeah, and the mini puffs get his truck and drive away. Now, how are those mini puffs seeing over the dashboard? That's what I want to know.
So for me, I enjoyed the mini puffs in Afterlife. Like, it was a fun little continuation of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They had some funny moments, them getting burnt and blended and all that in various iterations. I think with this one, I don't know. I probably could have done without the mini puffs, to be honest. I don't really think they
Yeah,
added anything for me.
I agree. I think a lot of it didn't add. It was weird, dude. It was a weird. It was. I feel like it was a shame. Like, you've got Bill Murray back, and he didn't want to do Ghostbusters for years. Notoriously held up any Ghostbusters sequels for all those years.
Mm,
And you've got him back, and he seems to be very keen on Gil Keenan, who's the director. Hence, that's one of the reasons why he came back, and he was high up on
right.
Afterlife because of all the heart. And he's back, and he's just in 2 or 3 scenes. A few Bill Murray one-liners. I know Sigourney Weaver didn't want to be in it. I mean, you could have probably paid her loads of money to get in this and trimmed down the cast, couldn't you? And got her in it for a few days
Yeah.
filming. And it could have just had a bit more anchors to. I know you need to move on and need to pass the torch if you want this to make millions and millions from the Ghostbusters franchise, because these guys aren't going to be around forever. But I think you could have anchored it a bit more to the original movies a little bit and still have a new baddie. But what happened in between that period of time between Ghostbusters 2 and Afterlife is something could have happened. I keep going back to it. It could have happened that that was the thing that's what this ghost is. And they're like, we never saw it as fans. We don't know. So it's lore that's being told to us. They could have filmed it really clever, and I don't know. Who knows? Like, having an Oscar, like we said in the non-spoilery, having Oscar Barrett or Oscar Venkman in it.
Yeah.
Could have been one of those characters. That would have been great. Or, imagine
That would have
Patton
been a nice
Oswalt
touch.
could have been an Oscar, not Patton Oswalt, he's too old, but have a younger actor there. And Ray's like, I know someone, or Peter's, I know someone who can help us. And it's Oscar, who studied all these years, or I don't know.
Yeah, and you could also could have like just a weird little comedic interaction where he goes to act with him like he was when he was Oscar as a baby, and Oscar's just like, "What the hell are you doing? I'm a grown man."
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a little callback.
He has
to
a slinky or
Ghostbusters
something.
2.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something. Some sort of cool callback. And I really, really did not like the Nadeem character shooting fire out of his hands. I'm like, this is not a superhero movie. What's happened to
Yeah.
Ghostbusters? It should be all ground. The Ghostbusters should be grounded dudes who are just intelligent and can find a way to, cross the streams or whatever it was.
Exactly.
Ray gets possessed and the people sing, and there's positive energy that takes away the negative energy, and the Ghostbuster can defeat Vigo. Or, the plan they had to stop Gozer in, or Egon originally had in Afterlife, where they pull him to the farm with all the traps.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they capture Gozer. But this weird, that was nothing, for want of a better term, with superpowers. It was just the plan the Ghostbusters had, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Each movie, or they lucked into it, like crossing streams, or the people singing that the old Lang Syne Ghostbusters too. But having a guy firing fire out of his hands, I really didn't like that. Even though Nadeem was funny, had some funny lines, but I just didn't like that part of it.
Yeah. I think, hopefully this gets a sequel, because I do enjoy the Ghostbusters, but I really do feel that any sequel, they need to just scale the cast back, because it's one thing when you've got 4 everyday Joes who are just quite intelligent fighting against this insane evil from another dimension, but when it's then like 10 different people who have got varying levels of importance to the film altogether. It's just a bit too much going on, that there's no real kind of focus or peril for the
Another
characters.
bit I really didn't like as well is that somehow they've suddenly made out that we didn't buy the firehouse because of its location. We bought it because we knew it was always connected to it's a portal for ghosts to come through. This is a very highly paranormal area. Like, what about? That was definitely not in the first film. They just bought it because Ray loved it. It was like, does this pole still work? Yeah. I just went down the slide, bought it. And he goes, the mortgage rates alone are 30%, whatever. The mortgage rate for 30 years. All that, no one's got free mortgages. You're never going to regret this, Ray. And all that stuff from Ghostbusters 1. And they just bought it because he was too excited, just wanted to go down the pool. We should stay here tonight. Like that. But rather than it was like, yeah, this is now a portal. That's why we never bought that originally for where the location. We bought it because it was a portal for all the ghosts to come through. What are you talking about? I mean, I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
That's unnecessary.
That's unnecessary too. It's trying to add lore to a franchise that doesn't need that kind of lore. It's already got it.
Exactly.
It never needed that stuff. It just got and you got Paul Rudd there. He could have been a great, for want of a better term, proper Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
One-liners, funny. I think he was restricted by the story a bit.
We didn't really get much of him Ghostbusting at all. He was driving the Ecto-1, wasn't he? And then at the end, when they're trying to fight Garaka, but other than that, we didn't really have much Ghostbusting to do from memory, other than
hardly anything, mate.
Yeah,
hardly anything. It was, and Callie is pointless. I know she's Egon's daughter, but having her in this film,
she had a storyline in Afterlife. That worked, but in this, it was just kind of like, oh, she's here to play mum, and that's it.
Yeah. So best character for me, one of the best ones was Slimer. I love the bit where the possession ghost gets stuck in a proton pack, then jumps into a pizza.
Yeah.
And the pizza's trying to escape, and then Slimer comes up through the floor and eats the pizza and flies off. That's brilliant.
That was
proper Slimer from the cartoon.
That's traditional Slimer, yeah. And apparently, according to Kumail Nanjiani, the filmmakers drew inspiration from the animated series for the film, noting that they wanted to make a long episode of the animated series. And I see that to an extent, in terms of I don't know. Yeah, I guess it felt a bit more like an animated series episode than a film continuation, but don't know.
The Garaka character baddie was not very good. He just turns up at the firehouse, and even that scene where he's like, it was trying to be a throwback to, was it Are You the Fire Master?
Yeah, then it just
in the vape shop,
and
froze the guy and just falls to pieces because he's frozen. Like, was that just supposed to be like, are you the key master? Are you the gatekeeper? And he got confused, and that was kind of pointless, that scene.
Yeah,
I suppose it's showing his threat level, and he can kill people. Do you think he, as a horror aficionado, do you think he was a good horror baddie? Did he look scary?
I think his look was pretty cool. In terms of it was quite unique. Like, I liked the moment when he got his horns, like his kind of ceremonial horns from that room that was holding the orb. Kind of in stasis. I liked the lore with that, and his appearance was quite cool, and I like the whole idea, in theory, that there's this lineage that are trying to keep him, in prison. But do I like that in a Ghostbusters film? No, not really, because that's then bringing the weirdness of the ghost world into the human world, as if that's kind of like normal. I mean, obviously it's not widely known. Your general public don't know about this ice demon, but people having this lineage to be able to control fire was just a bit like, that would work if from the first Ghostbusters film it had been set up that people were psychic and telekinetic, but they weren't. Like, Peter Venkman was doing his studies, but it was basically just to get girls.
And Winston's like, says a steady paycheck, I'll believe anything you say. Just a guy. He's just a guy who wants a job. It's that's the only thing I really didn't like that bit. It took away from from what made Ghostbusters Ghostbusters. That
Mm.
was something else I was just thinking, the horns and Garaka, that he doesn't have them at the start. That could have also been another, the ghost that got away. Maybe Ray kept them or something. He had them and he never told everyone he kept them in a hidden bit of the
Yeah.
attic of the firehouse. And that's why Garaka's going there. And then that's when Winston loses his shit at him, or I don't know. I just feel like it could have been really anchored a lot better with some form of ghost that got away. And that line, Winston's having a go, and we need your golden years, Ray. Enjoy them. And then Ray's like, I do enjoy this. This is what I want my golden years to be. It could have been like we lost Egon because of this, his obsession.
Yeah.
I've been like, oh man, yeah, you did, and everyone been remembered afterlife and been upset. Like, you did lose it, and then Winston's like, I don't want to lose another brother. That'd have been a great line.
If I would have added a bit more stakes to this, a bit more gravitas. Yeah, whereas we kind of just got this story where Ray was quite involved in terms of out of all of the
Dan
three.
Aykroyd was in it a lot more than I thought he would be. I liked that. That was good.
That was nice, and I liked his interactions with everyone, but yeah, missed opportunity. And I did feel as well, as we kind of said in the main show, that it felt like they were setting him up to die in terms of some of the discussions about passing over and this, and he did sort of feel a bit kind of lost and out of sorts because even there's a moment when he sees the Ecto One drive past and he's kind of just like, oh, he's kind of missing those days. Like,
yeah.
You could have really worked with that a bit more and had more stakes. But really, by the time we get to the second half of the film, with Garaka going full frozen empire on the whole city, Dan Aykroyd's kind of taken a back seat again. Like he's been fairly frontal, in the gang in the first part of the film, but by that point, he's just one of the original Ghostbusters. He's just there for the odd line here and there, and it just felt a bit like you could have done a bit more. He's felt more important this time, so
yeah.
Don't know.
And Winston felt important because he's funded the Ghostbusters and all the research.
Yeah,
but we need just a line between. I think there was only one proper line between old Ghostbusters together. It just felt like those guys were separate to even the new four Ghostbusters. There was Winston and Ray in the hallway of the police station, and a few of the lines at the end. Golden years, and the bit I did like the Venkman line of "Pretend I don't know, Ray." That's like
that. Yeah,
Venkman line.
Venkman at the end was a bit of a highlight because he was in full on Venkman mode. It wasn't like the earlier scene where it's a little bit tacked on. Like when he walks into the fire station, then just goes straight to that control box where there's like a bit of brandy or whiskey.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Courage, anyone? That was good. But in theory, I don't know why they don't. I suppose they think he's not going to be around forever, and they want it to continue. They've got a world build with these other characters, but I can't see him doing much with a Trevor and a Callie Spengler and Paul Rudd, like that family dynamic. And at the end, when Phoebe somehow calls him dad by accident, and he's like, oh, she said called you dad. And then as he runs into the firehouse, he's like, yes. Yeah, just they go off and bust some more ghosts. But I felt that bit at the end as well, where all the people are around the firehouse going, Ghostbusters, go. Like the original other two films was just very, very forced to me.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
felt low
like,
budget.
It felt like, oh, we've got to do this because it's a Ghostbusters film. But the reason those bits happened is because that they needed the Ghostbusters. And yeah, you could say that the whole city had become frozen, so they needed the Ghostbusters to save it. But no one was around. So it wasn't like there were these people going, it wasn't like in the first film and the second film, we got all the people on the streets, the people that make up New York City, who were just,
the Titanic just arrived. Like that from Ghostbusters 2, where that turns up. And then, there's the lady coming out of the theatre and she treads in the nude slump, Ghostbusters 2, and all the like chipmunks were there, come out of their coat, they run off, and there's the songs playing, all around the city. Yeah, it's all mad, isn't it? Like you see the world's going to shit, and then when the mayor's like, somebody get me the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because you're like, we need the Ghostbusters to save the day. But this was like the whole world. You saw that the ice was taking over planet New York, but it wasn't like it just got a bit cold.
Yeah, we got the ice taken over the beach. And then from that point onwards, everyone disappeared. Really, it seemed until the very end, when everyone, well, I say everyone, however many extras they had, just sort of appeared, and were like, "Yay, yeah, Ghostbusters!"
It's like Ghostbusters too. You know, there's the whole museum's full of slime, covered in slime, and then they get the Statue of Liberty to break into it, and everyone's trying to sing Happy New Year, and like it's a city-wide event, isn't it? And then of course Ghostbusters 1 is as well at Dana's apartment as a city-wide event, and this one just felt, it's filmed in London at Pinewood Studios, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they built that corner in Pinewood in London, and the firehouse, they built that there.
Oh.
So, and then there was exterior shots filmed in New York with the Ecto One, but it just, that felt to me quite low budget, if I'm honest. That little bit,
yeah,
and very tacked on. And Murray Venkman should have called Peck Dickless. Just someone from the crowd going, "Hey, Dickless."
I'm sure he does get a Dickless. I'm sure he does. I'm sure there is a moment where he does say Dickless. I can't remember.
I think he goes Peck and then says, makes you want to scream, doesn't it, Peck? Someone shouted Dickless at him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it, I think. And then Wince is like, the world's getting taken over by paranormal activity with the animals. You can deal with it with the Ghostbusters. And then the car drives off.
Yeah.
It just felt really a bit disappointed. Maybe on a second view it'd be better.
Yeah, it's definitely one I think that initially hasn't bowled me over, but who knows? Maybe on a second viewing there'll be bits that I pick up on that I didn't the first time. But yeah, I mean, was there anything else with Frozen Empire? I think we've kind of talked about the main issues, I suppose is the correct term.
No, I don't think so, man. I think it is what it is. It's a film in the Ghostbusters. It felt like, I don't know, like Ghostbusters 3 main films before this, and they're all semi big events in the Ghostbusters franchise. This felt like, if you relate it to a Marvel movie, this was like, a not in terms of how good the movie is, but it's a bit like I don't know, Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's like it's part of the MCU, but it's not an important viewing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not talking about quality of the movie. It just feels like it just happens in the Ghostbusters world, rather than it being an event in the Ghostbusters world.
Yeah, it's not an Avengers film. It's maybe not quite Eternals, but
Yeah, it's not Eternals. No.
It's not Eternals, but
it's if you get what I mean. It felt like a bit of a. It just is what it is, really. Maybe a second viewing would improve it for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I may wait till it comes to home media, but yeah, I think 6 out of 10 is a solid score.
Yeah, man, definitely.
But, yeah,
thank you for getting me on there, mate.
Thanks for sticking around and going into spoilers, dude.
Appreciate it, man. It's good fun.
For anyone who's perhaps just catching the spoiler cast, we talked about it on the main show, but you're on with Crimson Mel and Crimson Mel's Unexplained Possibilities live show and podcast.
Yes, April 5th at 10 o'clock UK time, 10 o'clock PM UK time, and you can check it out on the Unexplained Possibilities YouTube channel or podcast feeds around. And I'm going to talk about I went on 2 ghost walks. I've always wanted to do it. One at Shepton Mallet Prison in Somerset, and one at Dorchester Prison in Dorset near me. And like I said, crazy shit happened, especially for me on the second one. Absolutely crazy shit. I can't believe it, and it affected me for about 3 days later, I think. So it was insane.
I can't wait to hear about it, dude. Can't wait to hear
check
about
it out. Come and check me out on Lawrence Case _ on Instagram. I'll post all the information up on there, please, everybody. But thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. I enjoyed it. Thanks, Tez, for getting me on.
Thank you, dude. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. And we'll have to do this when there's Ghostbusters, wherever they go next.
Ghostbusters, Mini Puffs and Trucker Embrace.
Ghostbusters. That's a different sort of film.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Catch you guys later.
Bye.